But I can hear the hecklers, and they're saying you've forgotten all about the Mini. Surely that did it all better. The 500 is even smaller than the Mini, and it predates it by 2 years. I could be a real anorak and tell you that Giacosa had a front-wheel drive transverse engine prototype like the Mini running as early as 1947. So the 500 then stands before you as the first, as the original miracle of automotive packaging.
First time I saw this car, it was sitting in somebody's back garden, literally with a tree growing through it. And it just looked so forlorn that we decided we'd got to have it. So we chopped the tree down, put a battery on it, put some petrol in it, got it started, and then actually drove it home. And it's been my car ever since. My husband thinks I'm complete and utter nut. But in one sense, it is his own fault, because he was the first one who pointed these cars out to me. His love is Jaguars, and at one time, that was my love as well. But since I've had this, I'm afraid, as far as I'm concerned, the Jaguars have taken a slight back shelf.
It's just like having a partner. You put up with his bad faults and you put up with his good points. So, you know, you've got to take the rough with the smooth to a certain extent. It's quite funny when I go to the drive-in because I'm not really the right height to actually say what my order is. And very often when I do say what my order is, they don't hear me. Can I have a Big Mac and fries, please?
Sorry, I can't hear you. Could you speak up, please?
Can I have a Big Mac and fries, please?
Sorry, I still can't hear you.
And so what I do on occasion is actually open the roof and lean out and actually shout my order right into the microphone. Can I have a Big Mac and fries, please? And then obviously I can then drive off and collect my order.
Now, this is where I demonstrate how to drive it. You have to get down into the bottom gear at the bottom of the hill, you see. So you have to listen to it and change down at the crucial moment, otherwise you lose speed. That's what makes it fun to drive, as you're involved with it. It's not all done by computers.
In 1960, Fiat introduced their Giardiniera, the world's smallest load lugger. And then there was the Gamine, a two-seater convertible for Noddy and Big Ears based on the 500. But even this isn't the Diddy Fiat's wackiest incarnation. 500s used to go racing. A tuning firm called Arbath prized a dizzy 75 miles an hour out of the little dearies. With engines literally spilling out of the back, these midget racers went round circuits like frenzied clockwork mice.
It's either the world's slowest fast car or the world's fastest slow car. It handles beautifully. It's a good roundabout car, but I can't make any great claims for top speed. It's also limited by its engine characteristics, because I can tell you one quick story. I bought some bits off an Italian, and I asked him how fast his went, and he said, the car should do about 90 miles an hour. The main bearings, they only do 70.
The differences between the standard car and this car are night and day. The standard car has a 0 to 50 time of 42 seconds, and this one has a 0 to 50 time of 14 seconds. So that, coupled with an increase of approximately 25 miles an hour on top speed, means it's a lot more fun. It's the pursuit of happiness, pleasure, fun, and if that's eccentricity, well, so be it.
And while we're on the subject of eccentricity, imagine you lived in the sun-washed Principality of Monaco. Imagine money was no object. Your choice of car is crucial in projecting the right image. So what would you choose? Of course, you choose the most expensive and exclusive 500, the Jolly.
Car is not for sale and never will be for sale. It's something which will always remain with us. We had many offers. We had many offers written notes left behind the windscreens. Even on the day of when I brought the car, two Dutch gentlemen stopped and asked if the car is for sale. I said, it's not for sale. And they said, well, we offer any price. I said, well, there is no any price.
In Monaco, the big problem is to park the car because the city is very small and it's very crowded. So they start to push all the car inside of parking lot. So because it's small and because it's very pretty, I can park where I want, and with a nice smile that don't give me no fine, nothing. So it's a very advantage car.
It's a happy car, and it makes people happy.
But not even the 500 can make everybody happy all of the time.
As a child, my parents had a Fiat 500 estate, and when you'd be going along the road, the car was very slow and very noisy. And when you would go up hills, it would be extremely slow and incredibly noisy. It was so embarrassing to be a child, and when all your friends had really wonderful cars like Zephyrs and really stylish cars we would consider, and we had this little thing.
Things always seem to happen to it. People move it around, they pick it up and put it somewhere else. I think they can't resist it. I think it's lads, especially if they've been to the pub, they just think it's a laugh. But despite all that, I wouldn't swap the car at all. I mean, it's all these little breakdowns and stories that seem to make it more endearing to you. And it's just part of owning a 500.
I have been pulled over by a police car for speeding. However, I was only cautioned because the policeman couldn't actually believe I could get that fast. With a modern car, you just don't get as much character. They all look the same. Even if you put two 500s together, they look different. They've all got their own individual character. I love that.
And it's not only the cars that have character. In '68, Ted Amos toured 6,000 miles round Europe in 28 days. He left the passenger seat at home and carried his bed with him. We took Ted back in time.
Imagine me, feet there and head here. Now, you don't go to bed like this. You bend a bit, huh? It became like a little house. And this is why it's the only car, when it blew up and I had to send it to the knackers yard, it's the only car I've cried about. And I don't particularly like admitting that, but the truth will out. It was something personal to me.
Tears were shed all over the world when in 1975 the last 500s came off the production line after a run of almost 3 million. Its successor, the 126, appeared 3 years earlier, but Fiat continued with the 500, saying we didn't have the heart to axe the little fella. And despite such imaginative advertising, the 126 never possessed the same personality. Fiat's newest Cinquecento may have the same spirit, charm and elfin effervescence as that raucous little buzzbox of '57, but we just can't love it in quite the same way. Perhaps the 500 occupies a very special place in our hearts because we know we're looking at a glimpse of the future. Microcars do more than just make us laugh. They're the perfect form of socially responsible urban transport. Our unconditional love of the 500 means that deep down inside, we all know that one day soon, and it's not very far off, all cars will be this big.